Hello, I'm Jasmine Sky, and today for F. Lounge, I'm interviewing Adelaide birth photographer Victoria Berekmeri. Welcome to F. Lounge, and thanks for taking the time out from the Baby Summit to talk with me today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so I'm going to start with my favourite 5 questions. What was your career path? How did you go from being an aspiring photographer to doing it full time, and why birth photography?
Oh, that's a really long story and I won't go into it.
Do it. Quick, succinct version.
Okay, I was first introduced to studios when I was a little girl. My grandfather had a studio in Adelaide and I learnt photography from him from pretty much the age of 16. And I got to about the age of 30 and I ditched the day job and took up photography as a business, and yeah, it's been a great journey.
Awesome. And how did you get into the births?
Okay, so after the birth of my son, it was really something that I wanted to experience from a more neutral perspective, and it was a really cool thing to do, and I got hooked, and it was amazing.
Yep, haven't looked back.
No.
Awesome. Okay, so what's the favourite lens gear that you use all the time and why?
Okay, I shoot with 2 camera bodies going at once. I have a Nikon D4 and a D700, and my favourite, most versatile lens is the 24-70, and I shoot all the most important parts with that, and I have a 105 macro. I love it. I love being able to get in nice and close without being in anyone's space. That's really important to me.
Yep.
I shoot with an 85 because it's great in low light, a 50mm.
Yep, pretty much. All of the good ones. Okay, so what's the best advice you've been given in your career? Putting you on the spot.
Don't drink.
We went to a cocktail party last night and we're feeling a little under the weather.
The best advice. Oh, look, I had some great advice this weekend from somebody really important to me, and he said, "I'm my own worst enemy," and it's lightened me up immensely and made me realise that we all have the same challenges, we all struggle with the same things, and just to have faith in ourselves and keep pushing forward.
Good advice. Really good. What photographers have been the biggest influence on you?
The photographers who helped me, the ones who let me second shoot with them, or the ones that have given me the time of day and given me little snippets of things that I've taken away and used and gone, yeah, that's really, it all has an impact. So obviously my grandfather from the beginning, but yeah, everyone as I go along, you know, who's open to me, it's great.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, so in your opinion, what makes a good photograph stand out from the average?
The story. Yeah, it's got to have the full picture. I mean, I'm documentary, and so whenever I look at an image, I obviously notice the technical aspect of it first up. But if there's a story in there that grabs you and makes you feel something, that's what I look for and that's what I value.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, what advice do you have for photographers wanting to branch out into birth photography?
Do your research. Definitely get a thorough understanding of the birth space, the etiquette surrounding the birth environment, and network with other birth photographers, with midwives, with the type of women that you want to document birth for. Have a really thorough understanding of why you want to be a birth photographer. Come to my online course or workshop. Just do your homework.
Good advice. Okay, so births can obviously be pretty emotional, unpredictable. What do you do when things don't go to plan?
you remain fluid, you go with the flow, you do as you're told. If you're in the hospital situation, understand the policy, know what you can and can't do, and be very, very respectful and mindful of everybody in that environment.
Yep. Okay, so what are the misconceptions about birth photography and how do you deal with these?
Well, when I mentioned that I'm a birth photographer to, the everyday person, I guess, you usually get a bit of a look of shock or horror.
Yep.
They say, why would anyone want to do that? Why would anyone want their birth photographed? Isn't that gory?
Yep.
Things like that. It's cool. I'm cool with those responses, it's not gory when it's your own baby. When it's your own husband who's, nurturing you and admiring you for your strength. When you're seeing your child for the first time, when you're hearing that first cry.
I just got chills.
It's amazing. It's the most amazing thing you could ever photograph. I mean, for a mother, this is a once in a lifetime event with that child, and it's a miracle.
It is. Yeah, entirely. So do you think, and, definitely having, had my own children and having that thought of like, oh, it's quite a confronting time, I'm not going to be looking that pretty. Like, it is that initial, like, because you're not thinking about those things because you haven't actually had the baby yet. You don't have that connection and realise the importance of it.
That's right.
Do you think it's becoming more popular now? Just because the word is getting out a little bit more about that kind of thing, or is it kind of...
I think it's a combination of things. I think what happens is one woman will have her birth photographed and she will have the opportunity to share her story, her journey. And this is what it's about for me. It's about sharing a story, sharing the lessons that you've learnt, sharing the joy and the challenges that you've come up against. And so when you have images to go with that, it's inspiring and people can really connect to it because photography is a really easy way of connecting. And when somebody else is exposed to birth photography or the concept of it in that way, it's really powerful. It's coming from a friend or a family member or somebody that you care about and respect. And it just grows. And so that first woman that had her birth photographed, there was something about her that was empowered. She owned her birth in some way. And you don't have to be a second or third time mum to be that way. There are a lot of first time mums. And so
which is great.
It is, it is. And so I think as our generation are having babies and we're talking more, it's just naturally growing. I think birth photography will continue to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting to watch. Okay, so I'm sure you can think of several that come to mind immediately, but can you share a particular moment or image that stands out in your mind that sums up why you love what you do?
There's always one shot from every single birth that you just go, that's what this birth was really about. The most impactful image that I can think of was the photograph I took of Bria, that when she was taking her first breath and her feet are just still in the mother and the midwife is carrying her out. And that is probably the most profound picture I've ever taken or ever captured because it changed my world in so many ways, and it changed the way so many more people viewed birth.
Beautiful. That's all my questions. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. And in terms of your workshop and everything,
Yes.
they can find that on your website.
Yeah, so I run two businesses. So I service my clients in Adelaide, and that website is adelaidebirthphotographer.com.au.
Great.
When it comes to educating photographers about birth photography, I've teamed up with a New Zealand photographer, Cassie Emmett, and her and I run an online course and workshops in Australia and New Zealand, and we're hoping to go overseas with that.
Great.
The website for that is birthphotographyworkshops.com.
Great.
Yes.
We'll link both of those under the video.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Bye.